Hi everybody, my name is Orla. Welcome to my channel. In this channel I will be reading short stories for children and for adults who are interested. And the first one I'm going to do is from this book, Irish Myths and Legends. Really good book. And it is, give credit, stories retold by Joe Potter and illustrated by Erin Brown. Fantastic illustrations. Really good. Okay, and the first one I'm going to read is The Children of Lir. Classic. Bit sad, but still really good. Okay, so cuddle down, get cozy. Here we go. The Children of Lir. Long, long ago there lived a great king called Lir, who had 4 children, a daughter named Fionnuala, a son called A, and twin brothers called Fiachra and Con. After the twins were born, great tragedy fell upon Lir's house when his wife Eve died of a terrible sickness. Lir and his children were devastated, and they mourned her for many moons. As time went on, however, Lir became lonely. More importantly, he felt his children needed a mother, so he decided to remarry. Unfortunately, the king was a shallow man. The bride he found was beautiful of face, but black of heart. And a black heart loves to a dark beat. Her name was Aoife. In her own way, she loved the king very much, but she did not love his children. Aoife had never wanted to be a mother, and soon after the marriage she became jealous of her stepchildren. That's Lir and the kids. Lir shows those little brats far too much attention. Aoife spat into her mirror one night. All his attention should be for me. I'm his new bride after all. That's Aoife. Okay. Over the next few days, Aoife tried to draw Lir's attention away from them, but he loved his children too dearly. He played all manner of games with them, and he would listen to their singing for hours. Jealousy rose and rose in Aoife until it was positively bubbling over. In a rage, she decided the children needed to be dealt with. She would get back the king's attention at any cost. She plotted and plotted, coming up with scheme after scheme until she found the perfect one. She waited until the hottest day of summer and called upon Lir, who was poring over papers in his study. "My husband, you must be parched in this heat. Why not have a cold glass of wine?" she said, holding out a chilled glass. Lir had been working for hours, and his focus had been drifting for some time. "Why not?" said the king. "One small break can do no harm." Aoife gave the king the glass of wine, and he drank deeply. The start of her plan worked. As soon as he finished the glass, his eyelids began to flutter. Aoife took the glass from his hand, and she stroked his hair. "There, my husband, sleep now." And the king fell into a deep, heavy sleep before her eyes. As soon as she was sure Lir wouldn't wake, Aoife roused the 4 children who were drowsing in the afternoon heat. "Good afternoon, my dear, dear little one," she said, ever so quietly as not to wake the king. "It's a beautiful day, and the castle lake looks ever so inviting. Where's Papa?" asked Fionnuala, who was shrewd and did not trust Aoife. "Why, he's asleep, of course. Your father is tired from his kingly duties. Let's let him rest." The children loved the lake, so they all agreed they should go down and bathe. Down at the lake, Aoife led the children into the water. "Come now, children, cool yourselves," she said with a twisted grin. The children all waded out into the shallows. They began to splash water with each other, laughing uproariously. Okay, now soon as their backs were turned, Aoife took out a magical wand and cast a spell over the children. In a flash of white light, the children were transformed into 4 beautiful swans. They screamed at the sight of their beaks and feathers. "What has happened to us?" cried Fionnuala to her brothers. Aoife spoke from upon the bank. "I am learned in the magical arts, and I have cursed you. This will be your form for the next 900 years. 300 you shall spend here upon the lake. The next 300 years you will spend on the Sea of Moyle, and the final 300 years you will pass on the Isle of Glora. The only thing that will break the spell is the sound of church bells." "Why have you done this to us?" cried the children in unison. "Because your father is mine, and mine alone. Enjoy the next 900 years, said Aoife, as she walked away laughingly. Look at her. Casting her spell. When the king woke, he went round the house looking for his children. When he could not find them anywhere inside, he walked into the grounds, calling their names. "Fionnuala! Fiachra! Con! Where are you?" "We're here, father," Fionnuala called back. "We're in the lake." He rounded the corner to the lake, but it could only see 4 swans paddling towards them. Father, it's us," Fionnuala said. The king, dumbfounded, nearly fell backwards. "My children, what has happened to you?" "Aoife has placed a terrible curse on us, father," said the twins together. The swans all bowed their long necks in misery. Lir ran back to the castle as fast as his legs could carry him. "Aoife, Aoife," he yelled, crashing through the castle door. Aoife was waiting at the top of the stairs. "Yes, my husband," she said innocently. "Aoife, what have you done to my children?" Lir demanded. "Don't you see, Lir? I've done this for us. Now you can just be with me, where you belong." Lir sank to his knees in despair. "Please, put them right. I beg of you." But Aoife was cold and was determined that she could have the king, and was determined that if she could not have the king, no one would. The king pleaded and pleaded, but she refused. In the end, the king lost his temper and banished Aoife from his kingdom forever. Lir searched high and low for someone to remove the curse from his children. He sought out wizards and warlocks, doctors and apothecaries, but none could break the spell. Aoife's magic was too powerful. Finally, he was forced to accept that his children would remain as swans for the next 900 years. Lir spent the rest of his life with his children by the lake, talking to them and listening to them sing, until he grew old and died. The swans were heartbroken. They could no longer sing, and they could not even talk for their sorrow. 300 long years passed, and the time came for the children to fly to the Sea of Moyle. After a day there, the swans thought longingly of their father's lake. The sea was harsh and stormy place, with little food to eat. The wild waves pulled the swans hither and thither, and smashed their beautiful bodies against the sharp rocks. Time crawled by there, and years passed in misery. When at long last 300 more years had passed, the swans left for the Isle of Glora. They arrived at a saltwater lake, and their time there was much happier. The water was calm, the air was warm, and there was plenty of food. However, the swans were tired and old, and they had grown very lonely. They had lingered in the mortal world too long, and they ached to be with their father again. The next 300 years felt like 1,000, but passed they did until one day the swans heard the far-off ringing of a bell. "What's that sound?" asked the twins. "It's a bell," said Fionnuala. The children lived for so long, the curse was a distant memory. Aoife's prophecy came back to Fionnuala like a fragment of a half-forgotten dream. "The bell, my brothers! This is the end of our plight," she shouted. Ancient and frail, the swans swam towards the sound as fast as they could. At the bank they came across a little church. The sound of the bell died away inside, and out walked an old monk called Quavo. There's the old monk. Quavo stood in amazement as the 4 swans swam up to him, singing with human voices. The swans sung joyously, waiting to be transformed, but nothing happened. Fionnuala stopped singing and told Quavo of the curse upon them. "Please, sir, ring your bell again, for we wish to be human again." Quavo hastened inside and rang the bell again, but still nothing happened. The swans looked at each other in despair. "I am most sorry," said Quavo. "Please come into my house and I will feed and bathe you." The swans accepted gladly. That night they ate well and lay by a warm fire. Unfortunately, Quavo was not the only one who knew of Lir's children. The king of Connacht had heard about the singing swans. He knew he must have them for himself, for what other king in the land had singing swans? The king travelled many miles to the Isle of Glora, but when he reached the lake he saw only common birds. The only sight nearby was the church. When passing the windows, the king saw Quavo feeding the 4 swans by the fire. He pounded on the door. "How may I help you?" asked Quavo when he opened the door. "I demand you give me those swans. I am the king of Connacht, and I need them for my castle." Quavo refused flatly. He tried to shut the door in the king's face. But the king was strong and much younger than Quavo. He forced the door open and barged his way into the church. In his haste he knocked over a pail of holy water, dousing the swans with the liquid. The king kicked the pail aside and went to grab the swans. Just as he touched them, Aoife's spell broke. The king backed away as the swans' feathers all fell out. Before his very eyes, the swans vanished completely, leaving 4 extremely old, wrinkled people on the hearth. The king fled in horror. Fionnuala put her arms around her brothers, delighted to be human once more. "Quavo, we are 900 years old now, and we shall soon die. Before we go, please would you baptize us so we can be with our father once more?" Quavo did as she asked and baptized the 4 ancient people. Soon afterwards they died of old age, and he buried them in one grave. The children were now at rest. That night Quavo dreamt that he saw 4 swans flying up through the clouds. He knew that the children of Lir were now safe with their mother and father. The Children of Lir. And that's our story finished for this evening. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.